Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of Trailer Explanations. In this video, we are going to cover Unit Connect to Salesforce with server-side controllers from the module Aura Components Basic. So what actually we'll be doing is we will be revisiting our previously created Aura component, camping list component. And here we are going to make certain updates in order to fulfill all the requirements or the updations required in order to complete this unit's challenge. So we will be creating a camping list a controller that is an Apex class. We will be linking or attaching that controller to this component camping list. And in that controller, we will have two methods, get items and save items. As the name suggests, get items will fetch all the records of camping items object and display it on the UI. Whereas save item will save the records of camping item into the database when we provide the input in the camping form, which we created in the previous unit. We will also be using do init to initialize a handler. Uh, we will be using do init handler as well to load the existing record. So whenever we will load our preview or our Salesforce org, we should be able to see all the existing records. So in order to see that, we will be using do init initialization handler. And we will also update our helper class by this method, which we'll see in few seconds. So let's quickly launch our Trailhead Playground, which I've already done, and open up your developer console. So here I am on my developer console, and you have to go to camping list component. Now, the first thing that we have to do is we have to take up the handler, which is Aura handler. Name that I am going to give it as init, and value will be this, and action is equal to the name of the method that I want to call on whenever this init handler is going to execute. So here I'll say do init and close this handler. So this is the handler I have created. Otherwise, the rest of the class is same as that we had created in the previous unit or the previous unit. I've just added this Aura handler over here. Moving on to the controller, I'll just copy this. So what we want is on whenever this do init or the handler or the whenever the load of the window or load of the component, this should fetch the item. So what we are going to do is I will paste this name of the method and I will create one function over here. Two functions in controller has to be separated by a comma. So I have placed this comma. Now inside do init method, what I'm going to do is I have to call an Apex class method. So, but before that, we have to create an Apex class. So how we are going to do that? Go to file, new Apex class, and the name of the Apex class, I'm going to take it from here, camping list controller, and paste this in the name text area. Click on OK. And this will create the Apex class for us. Now inside this, we have to first of all create two methods. So let's quickly do that. Then we'll proceed to our Aura component controller. Now here, first of all, in order to call any Apex class method from Aura component, we have to give an annotation as Aura enabled. Next, the scope of the method, static, and the return type will be list of camping items. So I will just copy the API name of the object camping item over here from here and paste this inside and create the list of this. Now method name, I will take this from the challenge get items and paste this in the Apex class. No parameters have to be passed and I'll create this method. Now here we have to just simply query the records that are already been created on camping item object. So I'm going to query ID, name, quantity, price, and packed. So these all are the API names of the fields on camping item object. Then next is from camping item. I will copy this and paste this over here. That's all. Now, since my return type is of list of camping items, so this is the list of camping item records. So I will simply just put out a return here. That's it. Save this. Now, moving on, next is we have to create one save item method as well, which we will do in a while. First, let's go to the camping list controller and see how we can call this method. So first of all, we have to declare one variable. Let's say I'm naming it as action, and here I'm going to say component dot get and specify the name of the controller method which I want to call, which is get item. So I will paste this over here. Now, next is I have to, so this will call the Apex method. Now, once my Apex method has been called, then I have to process the data which I have got, which I have received from the Apex class. So in order to do that, we have to call another method or function, which is action dot set callback brackets this comma function. Inside this, I'm saying it as a response. You can give any name to this. A response is basically the return data, what we are getting from the Apex class. Now here, I'm going to put this curly brackets over here. Now, inside this, what I'm going to do is I will first of all fetch the state, whether I have received the data from Apex class successfully or there are any errors that are coming over here. So in order to do that, you have to declare another variable, say state is equals to and response dot get state. So this is going to give me the state of the return data. And in another variable, I'm going to store the result or the response which I've received from the Apex class. So response dot get a return value is another function. So I'll say get return value. Now, if at all I have received my data successfully from the Apex class, I will put out over here that if state is equal to triple equals to success, then it should do something. Else, it should just console that error has received. Error has occurred. So right now I'm not using any toast methods over here. So there you can refer that in the component reference link. So what basically, so if at all the state is success, you can put out after all your logic, you can put out one toast of success message that okay, my data has been successfully saved. So and if at all there is no success, some error has occurred, you can put out the error toast over here. So as of now, if I say my state is success, now here what I have to do is I have received my data, then I have to put it into the attribute which holds all the existing records. So if I just go to my camping list component, there were two attributes that we had created. One was items and another was new items. So new items basically holds the data, whatever we were entering into the camping form in the input, lightning inputs, the name, quantity, and price, packed value. So all those values that we were entering into the form will be contained, or you can say is contained in this new item attribute. But all the existing or the previous records of camping item will be held in this item. So all the records that are already there, the existing records of camping items will be present in this item attribute. So what we are going to do is, so I have received my data successfully from the Apex controller. The camping item records that are already present in my org. I have received that successfully and I want to display it. So what I'm going to do, since that is then existing data which I'll be getting from Apex class, so what I have to do is I will be setting that to my v.items using value provider and then items, comma, and the data that I'm going to set here will be result. So I'm just going to paste this over here. So this is going to give me the existing list of records in the UI. Now here, this item is again, we are using in the aura iteration over here. So this is going to one by one take out the records and will display it. So if I just save everything and go to my application and click on preview. So right now, as there are no records in camping item, so it is okay. We are getting some error. All right. So error is coming because we have missed a few things. The first thing that we have missed is we have to add here a dot enqueue action, and the variable that we are using here to call the get item method from Apex has to be placed over here. This is one thing. The other thing is we have to attach the controller to this component. So in order to do that, you have to go to auto component, and here there is this attribute controller. And inside that, just place the name of the Apex class that you want to link to this or you want to call data from. Just save this. Yes, it is taking some time. Okay. Now go back to your preview screen, refresh this. So as of now, we do not have any records into camping item object in Salesforce org. So this is not going to show me anything. So let's just go to our Salesforce org and create some records and just see whether we get the records over here or not. So I'll go to my this app launcher. And here I'm going to type, okay, so we are not getting camping a list over here. So what we have to do is I'll go to setup. We will be creating the tab. If at all you are not able to see camping item object from here, you have to go to home setup. In quick find, just type tab, and we are going to create tab for our custom object, that is camping items. So I'll go to tabs. So there you will find custom object tabs. So click on this new, and in the object, just select camping item. Tab style, I'm going to give anything you can give. Let's say airplane I'm giving. Click on next. And let's keep it the same. Click on next. And let it be selected for all the applications, sorry, profiles. Click on next, save. So our tab has been created. Now, if I go back to my app launcher again, refresh this, and here I'll just search for camping again. So there you go, camping items has been added in this app launcher. Now we are going to create few records. Click on new. Name, I'm going to give it as bags. Quantity, let's say 12. Price, I'm going to give 100. It is packed. Click on save and new. Next is ropes. Let's say quantity is 20. Price is 50. Let's keep it false. Click on save. Now go back to your preview screen and refresh this. And if this is working fine, okay. So we got the data over here. You can see that ropes 20 quantity, price is 50, packed is false, and same the details coming up over here for the bags as well. Now what I'll do is I want some space just after one record is completed, one record details is completed. So I'll go to my developer console again, and here you will see that there is this aura iteration. Now, what I'm going to do is I'll go to my camping list item component. And here I'll just place one break line tag after all this. So this is going to give me one line space after each record detail. So let it save. Okay, refresh this. Now this looks better. I got one line break after every record of camping item. Now this is the first thing that we have. Half part of this challenge is done. That is, we have fetched all the items, camping list items, and we have made them available on the load of the data or the screen. So this is fine. Now we have to work on save items. So for that, what we have to do is I'll go back to my camping list component. Now here, whenever I will click on this button, it should create one camping item record with all the values or the data that I have provided over here, right? So if I say I have provided some data like tent, name is tent, quantity 2, price is $10, and packed is true. When I click on this button, create camping item, it should automatically create a record by the same name tent into my Salesforce org or in the Salesforce database. So what I'm going to do is for that, so here on the click of the button, this function is being called click create item. So let's go to my controller, and there is this function click create item. So next thing what we have to do is we have to perform all the functioning in the helper class as it is a helper controller. So here you can see modify the JavaScript controller to use create item method in the helper to save records to the database. So we have to use helper controller or helper class in order to complete this save item. So let's go back here, and I will just copy this name of the method create item and going back again. Now this validation has to be there, so I'm not changing anything. And once this validation is completed and everything is validated that uh, is working fine, what I have to do is I will call here the helper method. So I'll paste this name. I'm pasting this name, the name of the method which I've copied from the challenge. And before that, helper dot, and inside that, I'm going to pass component, comma event, comma helper. Right now, all my logic will be inside this method. So I'll copy this again and go to the helper file on my right hand side. Just click on this helper file. This will open up another JS file, but this is going to be helper. So let it open. Okay. Now here, instead of helper method, I'm going to paste the name which I have just mentioned here in the controller. And inside this, what I'll do is I will say component, event, and helper. Now, the next thing is, again, I have to call the Apex method. So my next method is going to be save items. I will copy this name again, go to Apex class. Here it is. Now I'm going to create another method with, again, Aura enabled annotation. Scope will be public, static, and a return type. This time I'm going to take only camping item. So I will just copy this and paste this over here. Now here, before I move further into this method, what actually will be happening over here is when I click on this button, these values filled in these lightning input will be taken all together and will be passed to this Apex class. Now this will come in the form of, again, camping item object. So I'm going to pass an attribute parameter over here which will have type camping item, and the name that I'm going to give over here is new item. So as you can infer from this, that the data which we are entering is for the new camping item record. So that is why I'm giving here name as new item. So this new item, what we have to do with this new item, we have to simply insert this into the database. So I will just say new item, insert this. So it will be available on the load of the component, and we will also be returning this same new item so that we can update our existing attribute, which is items, with this new item. So it should be passed in that as well. So we can see that on the load of the component. So this is the Epic side. That's all we had to do over here. Moving on to our helper class, camping list helper class. Now here what we have to do is we have to create what we have to first of all call the Epic's method, Epic's class method. So where action component dot get c dot the name of the Epic's method, which is save item. We'll copy this and paste this over here. Now, here, if you will notice in Apex class, we are passing this attribute, this parameter over here. But this parameter will not will not be directly sent to the Apex class. It will go through this helper class. So we have to first send this from here. So how we can do that? So action dot set param. So whenever we want to send any data from our UI or from user input to the Epix class, we use this action.setParams, and inside that we declare the attributes that we want to send. Now here one thing I need to be keep in mind is the name of the attribute that we are going to give over here will be in the key value pair. Now, this new item, this name should be same as that of the name which we are passing over here. So new item, and this should be also new item. If at all I give this as new items, this is not going to work. So make sure this name is same. Now inside this, what we are going to send? We are going to send the attribute which contains the newly entered value into the camping form. So component dot get b dot new item. This is the attribute which contains the currently entered or the newly entered values into this form. And once I click on this button, these values in the form of camping item object will be using this line in order to fetch all the details, and will send this to Apex class. Now moving on, next, what we have to do is once my Apex class has been called, and I have to see whether what is my state, what was my state of the return data and what data I have returned. I got from the Apex class. So for that, action dot set callback this comma function. Then here I'm going to say response. You can give any variable name. This is just a variable. You can specify anything. Now here, first of all, I'll check, I will store the result into this. Result is equals to response dot get return value. Then another variable to store the state is equals to response dot get state. Now I'm going to check if my state is success. So inside single inverted success, I'll perform something, but if it is not success, I'll say console.log an error has occurred. So here you can put the toast as well, as I as I mentioned just a few minutes back. So now once I get the state as success, everything is working fine on the Epic side, and I have successfully received my data or the values from my Epic's class. Now what I'm going to do is I have to set the data, newly entered data, into the existing data attribute. So for that, what we have to do is we have to simply push the new item data into the existing item attribute. So for that, first of all, we will call the get the existing data. So component dot get v dot items. This is my attribute name, which hold the existing data, right? Now moving on to the helper again. So now I have the existing data. Now inside result, I have my newly created data. So instead of result, let's say I rename it to new record. Okay. Now I want this to be pushed into items dot push into this existing. So the new record has been pushed with the array of existing items. Now, finally, I want this to be set to my existing attributes, existing data attribute. So I will directly use this from here to here. And once the record has been successfully pushed and saved or set into the items, what I'm going to do is I will just set this to null. I will copy this, remove this from here. So this is the place from where we are calling the helper method. And I'm just going to remove this because it will just push 2 times because we are doing the same thing in the helper. So I'll remove this and remove this as well and take it to the helper. After this, just paste this over here. Save everything. Now everything is saved. Let's go back to our Aura component preview. Just refresh this and let's just hope it should work as expected. So so these are the existing records which we created from our org. Now I'm going to add another item over here. Let's say clothes. Quantity, I'm giving it as 10. Price, let's say it's 100, or let's say 80. Packed is true, and create camping item. So once I click on this button, what it is going to do is it will create the record of camping item by the name clothes and all these details in the Salesforce org, as well as it is going to fetch it again and display it over here. So let's click on this button and see what it does. Okay, we are missing something. So let's just go back to our developer console. Let's see if we are getting any error. Go to inspect console. Okay, we are not getting any error. All right, so the error, why this is not working, because this create item, we have to add one more thing, which is we are calling epics class method. So we have to specify a dot enqueue. I always forget this action and action variable. Save this again. Go back, refresh this. Let's say clothes. Quantity is 10. Price, let's say $80. It's packed. Okay, something is wrong. So let's just go back to our developer console and check what is causing issue. Okay, let's remove this from here and just add items. So if you can see, clothes record has been created over here, but we are not able to see it on the UI. So there is some error with the display of the data. So let's just check again. I have just changed this pushing of data into the array. Refresh this again. So right now, ropes, bags, and clothes. Let's say tent. Quantities 2 and $80. Packed. Yes. Now it is working fine, the way it is expected to work. So that was the issue. Do not want this to be pushed in the same way, in the same uh, line as that of component.set. First, we have to push all the records and then we are going to assign it. So that's all we had to do in this units challenge. Let's go back to our challenge and click on check challenge to earn 500 points. Hopefully, we should be able to pass all the parameters of this unit. Let's just wait for it to check. There you go. This unit has been completed. See you in the next video with another unit or module. Till then, take care. Thank you.